The grace is a wonderful thing. But to be truly blessed, and I've met quite a few people that are truly blessed. But I know some of you are probably thinking right now, or you can think of somebody right now that is not a Christian, that has got everything in the world but doesn't live the life of Christ. How did they get so blessed? How did they get all these things? The thing about that is they've got worldly things. Over this last year, I have learned more and more. I'm less and less about what the world can offer me. I get less and less about the nice vehicles, the nice houses. What does it really matter? They're great things to have, don't get me wrong. But are they worth having if you don't have God in your heart? Are they truly worth having? Are you poor? When you get, it says in the Bible, Jesus said it, that it is easier for a camel to walk through the eye of the needle than it is for a rich person to get into heaven. See, what happens is, I would say that those people that have all those things, sometime in their life, they were living for Christ. Or someone was praying for them to have blessings. And that has worked. But the only problem with that is now that they've got up to this level, that they've got all this stuff, that they don't really feel like they need God anymore. And that's the mistake that we start making so many times. Is once we get to a certain point and get to a certain level, we're to, well, I got this going on, I got that going on. I'm just not happy with the way a certain situation's going, so I don't really need God right now. I can take care of it myself. But that's where you stop getting your blessings. That's where things will start eventually going downhill. You take the richest person in the world and you ask them how truly happy they are. Most of the time they're not that happy. If you really dig deep down into their life, they're not happy. They got all this money, but they don't know what to do with it. They got all this money, but they don't have anybody to share their life with. Or they got too many people to share their life with. And not the right way. The blessings themselves, as I said, you have to earn them. And that's what these Beatitudes are telling us. They're not just telling us a way to live our lives. To have this certain attitude, you have to be this certain way to get into heaven. There is an extent to that. But let's focus on the blessed part of it today. focus on that righteousness. Let's think about it for a second. Those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, those who are pure in heart, and those who are poor in spirit. Those three combined. You're blessed if you're all three of those. Those three all tie into one word. Righteousness, seeking, desire, striving to do everything you can do that is not only good, but is also in God's will. Because see, what we think is good is not always good. God is righteous. Sometimes we think it's better just to tell a little white lie so that we don't hurt somebody's feelings. Well, what's the difference between telling a white lie and murdering somebody? When it comes right down to it, there is absolutely not one single bit of difference. A sin is a sin is a sin. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. I think what Jesus is trying to tell us in that one scripture is that we not only need to come to church on Sunday mornings, we not only need to strive to do our best, but we need to strive to do more than our best. There's a saying in one of my classrooms. I can't remember exactly how it goes, but it says something along this lines. Sometimes our best isn't good enough. Sometimes we just need to work at it. Think about that for a second. How many times have you yourself or have you heard someone say, "I'll do my best"? I say it all the time. But what instead of we saying we'll do our best, why don't we just put some effort into it? Instead of just making that statement of doing our best, because it's almost got to the point that today that we say that all the time. Are we actually saying that to God now too? When He says, go talk to this person, or go do this, or go do that, He needs you to do that right then. He is telling you, go do this, because for some reason while you're doing that, somebody needs some type of help somewhere. Somebody needs something. Whether it is you, whether it is someone else, something is needed to be done right then. That's why He tells you to do these things. But instead we get this whole attitude of, well, I'll do my best. And what ends up happening? We don't do it at all. We don't even do it at all. But instead, when we are asked to do something, when God asks us to do something, He does. Each and every time, that little voice in your head that we call our conscience, that's telling us to do things, that's God. When He actually tells us to do something, instead of saying doing our best, why don't we say, all right, God, I'm going to go do it right now. What do I need to do? You just lead me through it and I will do it. When we start doing that, then that's how we get blessed. When we stop saying, I'm going to do my best, I really am, I'm going to strive hard to do my best. When we stop saying that and start saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do more than my best. I'm going to put everything into it, and I'm just going to go forward and do it. That's how you get blessed. When you start doing what God is asking of you to do, when you start making that full step forward to doing what God is asking you to do, That's where the blessings come from. And I'm going to tell you right now, when you start getting that, when you start doing what God's doing, blessings will rain down on you and rain down on you. And am I saying all your bad times are going to be over? No, I'm not saying that. Because still things like that are going to happen. And we learn from it. But when you start doing as God asks us to do, when you start stepping yourself back and realizing, God, I need you. God, I need you to be who you need me to be. God, what is it you need me to do today? We all have our daily struggles. We all have our daily problems. But do we ever get up in the morning and pray, God, what is it you need me to do today? What is it you want me to do today? God, what can I do for you? You see, when it comes right down to it, God is all powerful. He is all knowing. He is all everything. But yet, in being that, He gives us this free will to come and go as we please, to make it our choice to serve Him, to make it our choice to do what we need to do, to be a part of His kingdom. But do we actually do what we need to do? Are we actually following through with that question of, God, what is it you want me to do today? Are we following through with that? Are we really feeling the blessings that God can give us? Are we really getting every blessing that God can give us? Because see, in earning those blessings, the thing about it is God is, it's like He's on His hands and He's just ready just to throw them out there to you. Just to give them to you like, here, I want you to have this. Take this. Please, take it. Take it. But the thing about it is He's holding it there, waiting and waiting and waiting for us to step up and do what we need to do. Step up and do what He's asking us to do. Whether it's the simplest thing or something major, it doesn't matter which it is. He is just sitting there, anxiously waiting in a sense, for us to walk on that path and do as He is asking us to do. Because He wants us to have those blessings. He wants to bless us. When He first created Adam and Eve, they were in the Garden of Eden. They had no sin in their life. That's the perfect example of He wants to bless us. It was not Him who kicked Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden. It was Adam and Eve that kicked themselves out by eating of the tree of knowledge, the tree of good and evil. They did what they weren't supposed to do, so therefore they had to suffer the consequences. See, many times that's what happens. If we don't get the blessings, sometimes we have to suffer the consequences.